Welcome to the Samwell B12 experience. Hey, what's up, everybody? I know this is the post-game report, but this game is going to overtime. So let me introduce my partner in crime for our post-game report. And we're going to dive right into that when this game wraps. But over here is good old Johnny. Johnny, what's going on? Welcome to the post-game report.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, and good evening to everybody out there.
And it's kind of funny because we're kicking off this post-game report live in-game, so it's kind of wild for the first time. So what's up, Coaster Mom, Dallas, Clear Liam, what's going on, TJ in the house? Thank you all for coming in and being a part of this as we're kicking off the first ever episode, but we're still doing it live while the game's going on. So we're going to bring to you the live play-by-play of overtime and if there's a shootout, and then we're going to jump into all the post-game shenanigans. TJ in the house, what's up? Theo Sam Eagle, my buddy, how's it going? So this isn't the Devils' 20th win post-game. Oh no. But hey, we're going to talk about how well we knocked the Devils out and took down their streak. Anyways, that was a good one. This has been a great game. There's so many stories, so many things to talk about, but of course, we have to be up to speed with OT, and they're just getting ready to set overtime. Of course, this is our post-game report, so I don't have all the fancy doohickles and bells and whistles that I normally would for a game because I wasn't expecting to be calling a game right now. But we are going to go to the action as it is OT. The OT. Dallas, redeeming freeze. Come on, it's OT. Spooky, what's going on? Okay, here we go. It's overtime. The Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The way this game sits right now, it's 3-3, 39 shots for the Leafs, 32 for the Bolts. Toronto does not have a good overtime record. So here comes Mitchy Marner. Mitchy scrolling down. We're going to talk about him shortly in a turnover. Matthews turns over the puck. Here comes Killorn. Gives it over to Cirelli. Cirelli over the line. Back to Killorn from the face-off circle. He scores! And as fast as it started, it ends. Alex Killorn kills the Leafs. Dagger in the heart. And just as the Bolts did in the Stanley Cup playoffs, they do it here again tonight. The Tampa Bay Lightning exposing the Leafs for their poor 3-on-3 play. The Leafs cannot catch a break in OT. Oh, boy. Well, hey, the good news is we're going to get to jump in our post-game report a little bit early. The bad news is, come on, man. Again, Toronto?
You know, I think that that's a good segue into what we saw in tonight's game. I think there was a battle of the goaltenders, and we know who came out on top of that one.
Yeah, I think we do. I think you're right. And as we're getting going, you'll see the link that just got posted here all month long, the month of December. We are supporting the Sick Kids Foundation. So if you're looking to join forces and join a foundation for this holiday season, Sick Kids, they're looking to build a new hospital here in Toronto. They're doing some amazing research. So if you're looking to support a charitable foundation, please hit that link. It goes directly to Sick Kids. Your donation goes directly to Sick Kids. It does not come to us. It doesn't touch our channel. It goes straight to them. And I believe they issue a tax receipt for any donation over $20. So support Sick Kids and thank you. Ron, what's going on? Welcome in. Man, crazy finish. All right, let's get to it. Now that this game is over, they pushed our start date. Thanks, Leafs. You pushed our start date and you didn't even win. All right, let's get in to what's going on. So this was a crazy game. There was many stories that took place. Now the game started off. It was Steven Stamkos' celebration, Steven Stamkos night, the Stammer, for his 1,000th point. So they started the game. They gave his wife and his mother some flowers. They gave him a very expensive bottle of wine and a nice wooden crate. They gave him the golden stick for the 1,000th point. They gave his two kids the little golden sticks. Really nice ceremony. And then the game got going. So, John, I'm going to ask you, and hey, Morgan, what's up? I'm going to ask you, let's start with the first period. Before we look at the stats, we're not going to look at the stats. We're not going to look at the numbers, just pure feeling and your opinion on what you saw in the first. What do you think?
You know what? I felt that I saw a lot of things I liked in the first period. I saw a team that came out with a buzz. I saw puck movement. I saw defensive play. What I would have liked to have seen is that continue through the second and third. Still considered young team, playing against a team that's an older team. You think that they should have the stamina. Didn't hang on there. But first period, I liked what I saw.
Yeah, first period was interesting. A little bit of a slow play to get in here. Both teams being a little cautionary. I really think there was a lot of that playoff buzz that was hanging over these teams, which I think there will be every time they match up this season. Both teams look to do well. A little concerned about Mac Hollowell and oh my
Mete?
gosh, sorry.
Mete?
No, not Mete. It's Hollowell, and I can't think of his name. Holmberg. The two
Oh,
H's,
Holmberg,
Holmberg
yes,
and
yeah.
Hollowell. I think they were exposed in the first period. I think they were causing, not that they were causing some trouble, but they were a little slow on the play, and Tampa had some great chances from there. All right, going into the second period, what caught your eye about the second period?
You know what? Second period, I didn't mind the play. They still had some energy there. I thought Murray looked very solid through the first two periods, which I'm not going to lie, all season long when he's been in net, I've been unsure. Today, I was sure. He looked good. Um, I really can't criticize him. I can't criticize till the third period came along. That seems to be where, you know what? Look at we'll get into the stats after. We'll take a look at time of possession, but I believe from what I saw, Tampa's possession time in the third will greatly exceed Toronto, and that's not what we saw in the first two periods.
Yeah, the second period I thought was Matt Murray's period. He was there to shine. He looked really solid, looked really good. And of course, we had the big story that comes to light in the second period, and that is the story of Mitchell Marner. Mitch Marner has officially broken and set his own record for most consecutive games with a point for the Maple Leafs franchise. Marnie gets his ninth goal of the season shorthanded to extend the streak to 19 games. This is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
Unbelievable, and the points I think is only half the story for what we're seeing from him. We're seeing sort of the Mitch Marner of year 1 and 2 with the Leafs. He's out there on the ice. He's moving his feet. He's finding the open space. He's making the plays happen. Um, can't say enough about what we're seeing from him. I think the biggest problem is when that contract comes up for renewal, he's going to be costing us a load of extra money to keep him.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. CT, what's going on? Welcome in. I can prep too. Good to see you. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. If you are coming in and this is your first time, thanks for joining us here on the inaugural post-game report. Appreciate everybody coming in. And whoopsies, hit the wrong button there. I meant to hit this one. Thanks for joining us. Hit that like button. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe as well. All right, let's go into the third period. Lay it on us. What'd you see?
You know what? Third period started off okay. Problem that we had there, penalties caught up to us. Defense, obviously missing three defensemen and going with a guy like Giordano playing 20-plus minutes a game, ran out of steam. Our puck possession fell apart. Tampa picked it up, and that was the story. I mean, the fact that this game went to overtime, I think we stole a point. This probably should have been done in regulation time.
That's right. That's right. Ian, welcome and welcome. And no, we didn't call the game live tonight, trying to do something new here. Saturday night going to be the post game report. And yeah, the third period got ugly. And it started in the second and it spilled over to third, where we took far too many penalties. Penalties just were going crazy in that second period. And then it continued into the third. So many periods. And then, of course, if we talk about overtime, there's not much overtime to talk about. Toronto brings it down one way, a little giveaway in the opposite end. Tampa Bay marches all the way down the ice, says, look over here, and they shoot it over here, and that goes in. Murray should have had that shot. There's Morgan calling Austin Matthews, and boy, wouldn't we like to see a little bit more from him tonight in OT.
Now, there are rumors out there that Matthews is playing through an undisclosed injury, and that might explain his, what many would consider, slower start to the season. To be perfectly honest, I thought that his scoring might be off to a slower start, but his overall play, defensive zone play, I think is above where he was a year ago.
Yep. JB in the house. What's going on? Welcome. And David, you got that right. You hit it on the head for sure. Joanna, good to see you. Leafs were absolutely horrible, and they have been all year in OT. David says too many penalties. There's little doubt. Yep. Had the Leafs cut the number of penalties down and managed a point, yeah, it would have been a very, very different game. Very different at all. Frank, what's going on? Unfortunately, as soon as I saw us in OT, we felt you were going to lose, and that's kind of the way it was. All right, let's switch over to look at the goal scores. Todd, what's going on? Welcome in. Todd, you should have received that certificate by email, so let me know if you didn't get it. Let's flip over here. Let's take a look at the goal scores for tonight's game. Of course, kicking it off in the beginning, Mitch Marner, we talked about him. He scores shorthanded, gets his 9th of the year in the second period from David Kempf. This was shorthanded, so that extends the point streak for Marner, which was really, really important. Name sticking off comes in. He picks one up. His return to Tampa Bay, he's bounced around for a few teams, returns home. He gets his first from Cirelli and Chernik. And talking about Chernik, I thought we were going to see some fireworks there with him and Bunting. They were chirping pretty good.
You know, it's nice to see Bunting coming alive again. He's been, fairly non-existent in my opinion. And I was just mentioning earlier today to somebody that you're starting to see him talk a lot more on the ice. He's sort of becoming a bit of those disturbing players. He goes out there and just gets under people's skin, and that's what made him so effective last year. So it's nice to see him coming back with that.
He's like the pest. He's like the Bill Berg or the Darcy Tucker, where he just goes out, gets under your skin, he hits. And let's be real, he's not going to drop the gloves. The kid's 5'10". As much as he plays like he's 6'3", he's not going to drop the gloves. But he goes in, he mucks it up. All right, so then William Nylander, he gets his 14th. And what was pretty awesome about this, I think was it the Nylander goal, is moments before this, Tampa Bay had actually scored, and they called it back on the offside. Yes, offside. So then Nylander comes down, he puts it in, his 14th from Matthews and Bunting. So Matthews picks up yet another point. That brought us into the third period where things got crazy. There was already a 4-on-4 right off the draw. Marner goes for the puck, takes down the Tampa Bay player, gets called. So now it's a 4-on-3, and Tampa goes 1-2, back-to-back power play goals. Nikita Kucherov, his 11th from Stammer and Corey Perry, and then Ross Colton, his 6th from Sergachev and Perry, both of those on the power play. And then the man, the myth, the guy who's becoming a legend, Mitch Marner, gets his 10th. And this time he does it on the power play, which was absolutely awesome. Good to see Mitch Marner bookending it, shorthanded, and the power play. King of the special teams, picks up his 10th. And then as we just witnessed, Alex Killorn, he goes in overtime and wins it for the Lightning. Those are the goal scorers. So it was pretty crazy. It was pretty wild. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Lewis, good evening. Welcome in. Good to see you both. Okay, Todd, he just sent it over. Check your junk mail because it may have gone to the junk. Jeff, what's going on? Been watching college football all day. Watch the Blues lay an egg. Yeah, you got to be used to the Blues laying an egg these days. But welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining us on our first episode of the Post Game Report. I'm joined by big Leaf fan here, Big John. Not Big John Stud, Big John, Big Johnny, and he's joining us for our first edition of the Post Game Report. Please do hit that like button as you're coming in. If you're new and this is your first time, hit that subscribe. Our next game, we're going to be doing 2 games this upcoming week. Tuesday and Thursday, we got the late game. Dallas, I think it's an 8:30 start. Toronto going against Dallas Stars, the battle of the Robertson brothers. That's going to be fun. And then Thursday, Toronto versus the Kings of Los Angeles. So that will be fun as well. All right, let's look at the stats. Let's talk about how ugly this game actually got. And if we look at everybody combined together, who would your guess be? Give me your top 3 picks of players that were on the ice the most tonight.
Oh, top 3, I'd have to say you had Marner was out there, obviously, like you said, playing special teams. I bet you Kemp had a lot of ice time because of his special teams as well. And I'd say Matthews, because he's usually logging 20 plus.
Yeah, well, you're not right.
I didn't think so.
Not even close, but good guess. I would have gone with Marner for sure. So leading all players in ice time tonight was Justin Hall. Justin Hall leading all players, 25 minutes on the ice. Haller was a +1. He had 5 hits and a block shot. So a pretty decent line for Justin Hall tonight. Yeah. Jeff, it was 4-3 Tampa, and no worries. Now, just on Justin Hall, we know a lot of Leaf fans across the nation are so up in arms about Justin Hall. He needs to be traded. He sucks. He's worse than Giveaway Gill. It's an old Todd Gill reference from back in the day. He's atrocious.
First of all, hold on. Are we talking about no skill Gill? Is that really who we're comparing him to?
But just for the record, so everybody is aware, Justin Hall is leading the Maple Leafs in block shots. And that's a pretty darn important category. And if you've noticed, and yes, with the Leafs loss tonight, their winning streak does come to an end. But what has been their strong suit during this winning streak? Defense. Yes, Marner's been getting points. And yes, offense has been getting points. But defensively, they've been playing very, very well. And that all comes from Justin Hall leading the team in block shots. Second guy leading in ice time, also 25 minutes, Giordano. He does it again. Giordano, 49, 39 years of age. He's not 49. I know. He's taking big minutes, and he has to because we're hurting on the D-line.
He can't keep up with that. At his age, he'll end up injured before All-Star break.
That's my fear. John, welcome in. Trash game overall. Matthews and Murray brutal in OT. That's nothing new. John seems to be the issue. And yes, Callie Yarncroc, that's a great call out, John. Callie Yarncroc, he's out. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Definitely missed some of his grit. I do like the way, however, that Nick Robertson stepped up today. This kid can skate, and he's got a huge shot. We saw in the second period, he teed one up from about the top of the face-off circle, 93 miles an hour. So nice kind of shot in motion, the one-timer from Nick Robertson. Too many penalties, tons of penalties, and that was the problem. The third player, 25 minutes as well, nice time. That's the Tampa Bay defenseman, Victor Hedman. But if you look, so we talked about Justin Hall's line. Giordano, he was a +2 tonight, only 1 registered hit. He also had 3 block shots, which is amazing. Toronto doing a great job blocking the shots. The big minuses tonight, Rasmus Sandin. Rasmus Sandin has been a bit of a pain point over the Leafs winning streak. He's always on when they're scored against. He's coughing up the puck way too much. Sandin needs to figure out a way of settling himself down. The only other players that were +2 tonight were all on Tampa Bay. Brendan Hagel, Nikita Kucherov, and Brayden Point, all -2s. So even though Toronto lost today, even though they lost, and yes, overtime was kind of gross. It was a pretty decent effort by the numbers in terms of the plus minus. You didn't have a bunch of guys who were all in the minus category, considering that we had, 4 goals scored against that Tampa had scored. Looking at the face-off numbers, Pierre Engvall, who, by the way, I have a big bone to pick with Pierre Engvall. Not happy with his play at all. He did go 100% in the face-off circle. Holmberg, who we talked about earlier, going 83% in the face-off circle. Tavares, 72%. Matthews, 61%. So Toronto doing an okay job. Toronto did win the face-off percent battle with 61% overall to the Lightning's 39%. Now, John, let me ask you this. Do you feel that how your team does in the face-off circle should have some kind of correlation to the outcome of the game?
I mean, undoubtedly. I've always said as a coach when I coach my kids, the face-off is the start to the play, and that's what puts the wheels in motion. When you're winning those draws, you're in control of the play. Your time on possession goes up. You know, offensive zone, face-offs are crucial. Defensive zone, they're even more crucial. So absolutely, you win 61% of the draws, you should be in control of the game. And
Yep.
they weren't. They weren't.
I agree. They really, 61%. They go 1 for 5 on the power play. Tampa going 2 for 6. You give a team 6 like 6 power plays. That's just crazy. The one category I do have to give big props to Toronto tonight, and that's in the hits. Toronto out hit Tampa Bay, 31 registered hits to 20. Tampa's a bigger, tougher, more aggressive team, but Toronto out hit them tonight.
You know what? They statistically they did, but when you watch the game, it was not an overly physical game. Um, yeah, I mean Toronto. They threw their body around for whatever that means for Toronto. You didn't have big bruisers out there. I mean, we had Simmons in the lineup. Um, he could announce his retirement any day now. Like he's not really exactly the powerhouse that he once was.
Yep, 100%. Gordon, what's going on? Carm, welcome in. You got it, man. Sandin at -2. Matthews with the softy giveaways. Like that just can't happen in OT. It just can't happen. It's what ended up costing them the game. We're waiting to see if we can get some live audio fed in from the press conference, the post-game press conference. So we'll have to wait and see when they have their media availability. If we're still live, we will bring you some of that audio for sure. So with this from Toronto, it ends their winning streak. Marner's streak continues. They now have a couple of days off before going into Dallas to take on the Stars. So let's start talking about Marner. And hey, Christina G, welcome in. How far realistically do you think Marner can take this streak?
You know what? I don't see any reason why he can't just keep rolling along. I mean, we're not talking about goals, we're talking about points. Uh, he's just a player that, again, with all these points, he's still getting more assists than he is goals. And he's not playing with Matthews on fire going for 60-goal season. If Matthews wakes up and starts putting the puck in the net, Marner will just keep plowing along. There's no reason for it to end.
Yeah. What's your prediction in chat? Let's see your prediction as well. Where do you think Marner goes in terms of his point streak? Does it end at 19? Does he get to 20? Does he get to 25? Does he get close to Gretzky's record at 62? No.
No. No. You know what? If Marner could hit 25, that's, as far as the Leafs organization, that's legendary status. Like, that's But he is going to need his line mates to sort of step up and help him out there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he has a couple more games in him. Looking at where they're going, I mean, Dallas coming up, and then LA. Let's see where they go after that. So let me actually bring this up first. So Dallas is a tough team. Dallas is sitting second in the West. It'll be interesting to see what they can do. LA is up there as well. If anyone's going to get goals, it's going to be those top lines, and Marner is on fire. I think he does continue it through at least those two. If we then start talking, past Thursday, just taking a quick look. I think they then play next Saturday against the Calgary Flames. That's going to be a tough one. Calgary, they've been all over the place, but they're a tough team to play against. Dave, how's it going? Good evening and welcome to the post game report. So is 25 games in question? He's going to have a tough chance to get there because the next three, I think he gets through Dallas. I think he gets through LA, but Calgary is where I'm thinking he might have some trouble. It could end at 22 or 21.
You know what? You could very well be right, but we'll have to wait and see where that goes.
Yep.
If we can take a moment while we wait for those audio feeds to come in and talk about the penalties. We saw a couple of unusual ones tonight. I mean, Kerfoot, that late in the game penalty. Number one, Kerfoot, unusual penalty for him. But also a bit of a gentle call by the ref. Prior to that, we saw the coincidental minors, where a holding the stick and hooking call. Again, unusual. It's either a hook or it's a holding the stick. Which one is it? Can we look at this and say that maybe there shouldn't have been as many penalties? Maybe it was some of the reffing that was the issue, or is this a case of lazy defensive play by the Leafs?
There was a lot. I mean, normally I would be all over the refs, but I think both teams had a number of calls go against them, and when we look at the penalties as a whole, the first period was even two apiece. But here's the problem: you have Mac Hollowell and Potus Holmberg both taking bad penalties. In the second period, each team had three penalties called against them. That Simmons interference. Okay, Bunting gets 2 minutes for holding the stick. Whatever. It was kind of crazy. In the third period, though, this is the problem. The Leafs had three penalties in a row, and then Sergachev ended things off. So there was a ton of penalties. But if you watch any hockey game, you could pretty much call a penalty every single shift. So it's hard when the officials are being a little inconsistent and the calls are going back and forth. But I think the Leafs or the refs did an okay job tonight. They called it pretty even. Now, should some of those not have been called? Were there missed calls? Yes. Listen, was it Stamkos going across the front of Matt Murray, gets the elbow, kind of takes Murray's head with him. I don't know if it kind of happened right at the end of the play in the background and the camera didn't really catch it. But Murray goes down, he gets up and he's kind of, playing with his neck. He's tough to get himself back composed. All I kept thinking is, here we go again. Murray's going to be down and out. But that goes completely unnoticed, and that could have changed the entire game.
Yeah, but it's also Stamkos on Stamkos night. The call's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I mean, there was missed calls. Certainly, there's always missed calls, and I don't think it was unfairly reffed as in a bias one way or the other. I think the reffing was just a little too soft. Maybe you see those calls. No, you don't see those calls anywhere. I can't even justify it.
That's funny.
The Kerfoot penalty. I mean, he barely put his stick along the guy's leg. Like, it was on the shin pad, and he's called for the trip. again, a hooking call with a holding a stick call in the same play, just an unusual situation.
Unusual
With
is right. And I mean, when you talk unusual, Toronto's in an unusual situation to begin with. Right now, and again, let's just remind the viewers, Morgan Riley, our number one defenseman, he's out, right? Long-term injured reserve. TJ Brody, our number two defenseman, arguably, he's out on injured reserve. Jake Muzzin, our number three defenseman, arguably, out long term, may never come back. Jordy Ben, one of our plug replacement defensemen, out on injured reserve. So I've never seen a team ever in my entire life. Hey, Surf Bum, what's up? I've never seen a team in a situation where four of your six defensemen are on injured reserve. So the fact that we're playing here and we're relying on, Justin Hall and Mark Giordano as our vets.
Yeah.
Did you ever think kids today are on the driveway playing hockey going, I'm Justin Hall. I'm Mark Giordano.
Giordano, yes. Giordano, yes. There's a following for him, rightfully so. Hall, I still don't think the kids are saying it. But I'll give credit where credit is due. He has stepped up, he has filled a role, and he has done a good job thus far. Giordano, like I said, he cannot, at his age, I mean, he's a steady Eddie, he's a solid defenseman. He's a step slower than he was a year ago, which was a step slower than he was a year before that. He's not carrying us through to the playoffs, let alone through the playoffs.
Yeah. And for those that might not be up to speed on the Toronto Maple Leafs who are just tuning in to watch and hang out and have some fun, let me put it into perspective for you in case the names don't mean anything to you. We talk about Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley makes $7.5 million a year. Okay. Jake Muzzin makes $5.6 million a year. TJ Brody makes $5 million a year. Okay. Those are our star defensemen. When we look at our defensemen in the lineup playing today, Justin Hall, $2 million. Timothy Liljegren and Rasmus Sandin, who are both 22 and 23 years of age, by the way, making $1.4 million. Justin Hall, 30, so he's in that middle ground. But you got a kid who's 23, a kid who's 22, making 1.4. You have Mark Giordano, who's 39, who's making 800,000. You have Mac Hollowell and Victor Mete, both who are 24 years of old, making 750,000. So if you add up all of that money, it
doesn't equal what Morgan Riley alone is making.
Right? It barely makes up what Brody is making.
So the question is, are we overpaying half of them or underpaying half of them?
Well, it shows like what a defense costs today and what we have playing. It's amazing that we're still competitive in these games today. Now they they picked up Connor Timmins from the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah,
he hasn't played yet. He's 24 years of age, making 850. He will play. Gotta imagine he's going to play at some point. They didn't trade for him to sit on the bench.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering is like, where was he? I thought tonight was the perfect opportunity to put him into a game. Wasn't there.
Yeah, I think they're kind of waiting, and maybe that wait is now to let kind of Victor Mete or Mac Hollowell play themselves out of the lineup, so he can slot in. It wouldn't surprise me if in the next game we see Hollowell out and Timmins come in. Him coming over from Arizona, he obviously has. Well, he didn't play a ton against Dallas, or LA, but playing in the West Coast, he knows the West Coast style. So I think there's an advantage to have him come in against those West Coast teams and help out. But it's really gonna prove, what this team is made of. Over the next little bit.
Let me ask you this: is he another former Sioux Greyhound?
I'm not sure. Let me.
Because we currently have 7 former Sioux Greyhounds, and for anyone who's out there listening, going, who are the Sioux Greyhounds and how is that relevant? We have a general manager who used to be with the Sioux Greyhounds.
Yeah,
We have a coach
Sault
that
Ste.
used to be with
Marie
the Sioux Greyhounds.
Greyhounds.
There you go. So why did we trade for him? Because he's a former Sioux Greyhound.
Well, that
I mean,
is interesting.
I have to give Dubas credit to the fact that he has a plan and he's sticking to it. Regardless of what the media has said, regardless of the people who were calling for his head on a platter in the first 5 games of the season because they weren't 5 straight wins, he's going with it.
Yeah.
And it's either going to work or he's done.
Yeah.
There's sort of no middle ground here. It's either this team is a serious contender in the playoffs, or I think we're looking for a replacement coach, a replacement GM, and I think that goes right up to Shanahan and a replacement for him as well.
It'll be interesting. Thomas, what's going on? Welcome. In the Lightning of transition to Hedman, Sergachev top pairing. Good move. Listen, Victor Hedman is outstanding. Hedman, wasn't he a number 2 draft pick? Um, he was right up there. And Tampa's done a great job with their players, keeping their core together. I mean, when Yzerman put this team together initially, he stacked it. He did a great job. And Dave, I have a thick Canadian accent. I don't hear it. But welcome and happy to have you both here.
We're almost at moving day where we pack up and move out to our igloos.
Moving day.
It's our favorite holiday here in Canada.
Oh gosh. That's just way too funny.
I gotta be careful. We don't live in igloos.
No, we definitely do not live in igloos. All right, so we talked about, Marner and the great story he's done. We talked about the penalties and we talked about the collapse in overtime. So what do they do? In your opinion, where do they go from here? They know overtime is a problem. And there are going to be games that go to overtime. You got to learn to win 3-on-3. What's the move?
Well, I think overtime is a symptom. I think that there's a bigger problem at play because you look at our power play and what's going on there. I think what's happened. I was actually at the last game in Toronto with an overtime. Got to see it for myself. The Leafs are playing the same system. They have the same, let's come into the zone, let's drop the puck back to the third guy. Like, it's very predictable. And I think that is the same issue they're having on their power play. Their power play is very predictable. They know who the puck's going to. They know where Matthews is sitting. They know where Marner's going. I think we just need to sort of rejig our playbook. You had mentioned earlier about how our defense have really performed well. Our offense have been performing okay. We need the offense to step it up. The one thing that I'd like to talk about is our goaltending.
Yeah, go for it.
Going into this season, I don't think I was alone to say that there was some hesitation on the quality of goaltending. I mean, people look at, you look at Matt Murray and go, oh yeah, but he's got 2 Stanley Cups. Sure. And he's done nothing since then. And then you had Samsonov, who was a phenomenal goalie when he was in the juniors, but sort of an unproven goalie in the NHL. And if you look at his stats last year, you would really have to scratch your head on why we would want him. Coming into this season, we talked about our defense and the money that was not on the ice and the injuries we've had there. Why don't we talk about when we dressed our 5th string goaltender that we had to sign an NHL contract with just to fill the spot on the bench? I mean, it was off to a shaky start.
Well, that was
Samsonov's. Sorry,
that was tough because in order to do that, Toronto, that's why they had to give up Abe Kubel, right? Abe Kubel comes in.
Yes.
they had to clear out a contract because Toronto's at the max contracts they could carry. And with all these goaltenders going down, they had to make a move in order to sign what's his name? Keith Prizzuelli? I can't even pronounce it. But they
Petruzzelli.
Petruzzelli, thank you. They had to free up a space to sign him. He never saw the light of day. He never came on and played. But
No,
Shallegren did a great job.
you know
Matt
what?
Murray has been spectacular since he's come back.
You know what the problem is? Shelgren has some makings of a decent backup goaltender. Not sure he's ever going to be a first full-time 60-game goaltender. You look at his save percentage, he's in the 800s, not the 900s. Matt Murray, when he's healthy, has actually been playing fairly well. Samsonov is really the surprise here. He has been playing phenomenal. You look at his stats, I think he's sitting third in save percentage. Just really solid. So when you look at the goaltending and how it's sort of come together and worked out, coupled with the surprise of our defense with everything we're missing, you sit there and say, you know what? If the forwards were producing the way the forwards need to produce,
Yeah.
I think you'll win tonight's game.
Yeah.
Now, I can't be overly critical. You look at the Leafs record. You look at we're sitting, fourth overall in the NHL, second in our division. It's hard to say, oh, this has been a bad year. But let's be honest, it hasn't been a great year. We could be doing better.
That's very true. We could be. And Thomas, that's a very, very important comment. And thank you so much for dropping that chat. Is during the TV timeout, Pat Maroon congratulated Mitch Marner for his record-setting goal. Man, Thomas, that is awesome because I will be the first to admit I am not a Pat Maroon fan. I call him Maroon the Goon. I did not like the style that he played in the playoffs last year. Then again, if he was on my team, I'd probably love him. But not a huge Pat Maroon fan. But the fact you put in there, he went over and congratulated Marner during the commercial break. That is awesome. That's sportsmanship. That is fantastic. Yeah. So really, really happy to hear that for sure.
Kudos to him and great example.
Yeah. You're right. Listen, I said when we first signed Matt Murray and Samsonov, I thought it was a really good signing. Then it made me really nervous when I thought about it. Then as I thought about it even more, I said, you know what? If they play them in as a proper 60-40 kind of tandem split, they'll be really, really solid. Then all the injuries happen. Now Murray's back. He's been playing great. I know Samsonov just came back as well. They're going to get him into some games. Obviously, they don't want to put the workload too much on him. But I think now that they're both back and seemingly healthy and they can start doing the whole tandem equation, I think it's going to be awesome. Yes, Dallas, Calgary scored. And that's actually a great, great segue. Let's take a real quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Arizona, Vancouver, they are currently tied at ones, the end of the first. Florida up 2-0 over the Kraken, end of the first. Calgary now up 1-0 over the Capitals, end of the first. Carolina 1-0 over the Kings, 5 minutes in. Minnesota defeats Anaheim 5-4. That went to a shootout. Edmonton 5-3 over Montreal. Boston 5-1 over Colorado. Boston is no joke this year. It's crazy. New Jersey picks up another win, 3-2 over the Flyers. There you go, Sam Eagle. Your Devils pick up the win. Ottawa 5-2 over the Sharks. Pittsburgh 6-2 over the St. Louis Blues. And Vegas with a 4-1 win over Detroit. And finally, Chicago 5-2 over the Rangers. Another huge, huge disaster for the Rangers as they lose yet another one. Oh, it's too bad.
And sorry, just as you get through that, Washington has now scored to tie up the game with Calgary with 33 seconds to go in the first.
There they go. I just heard it over my shoulder. That's the thing I love about West Coast games. And if you're like us and you're on the East Coast and, it's late to watch a full West Coast game, it's such a different style of play. They move, they skate. It's It's awesome, just awesome to watch. All right, I'm going to refresh this one more time, see if we can get that audio in. If we don't, they may have been trying to get out of Tampa super quick, so we might not get that audio tonight. But this is our first post-game report. We are going to look potentially to roll this out Saturdays when we can't actually bring you the game. Our next actual game play-by-play calls will be Tuesday and Thursday of this week. Join us as we're on Marner watch to see if he continues the streak and see how he goes. We do have a short posted on the goal that Marner scored today. Do me a favor, click over, watch the short, help give it a like, help get it going. We would appreciate that. So, John, in closing, what do the Leafs have to do in the next couple days to prepare for Dallas, and how are they looking going into that game?
You know what? I think that the defense have to rest up. We're relying a lot on, like you said, Hall and Giordano. Let them get the bumps and bruises out a couple of days. Forwards have to just start lighting it up a little bit. I mean, we're seeing some good play, obviously, from Marner. We're seeing it from Tavares. We're seeing it from Nylander. We'd like to see Matthews step up. Maybe, I don't know, a third and fourth line. But if they can put that together, I think they'll do just fine. Like I said, I don't want to be too critical of this team. Sitting in fourth place in the NHL, second in the division, just came off of a win streak. This was a bump in the road. We stole a point. We're back. We're back to take two next game.
Sounds good. Kenneth, welcome in. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Welcome to the show. Great to see another post-game show for the Leafs. Yeah, this is our first. Normally, we try and bring you our style of play-by-play. If you haven't watched one of our play-by-play streams before, we do it very different. We try and call the game as best we can, but we have a ton of fun while we do it. So, Kenneth, thank you for subscribing and joining the experience. We appreciate it so very much. John, I am with you on that. I think these next couple days are going to be key for the Leafs, especially for Giordano and Hall. Put the feet up, sit in the hot tub, relax, just do nothing, keep the body loose. Especially as they come back here into town, it's going to be a little cool over the next few days. So we want to keep the body loose there. Dallas dropping the ice cream. Yeah, that's an example of the type of fun we like to have. You never know what's going to happen to the host during some of those games. So yeah, they got to stay loose. The defense got to get in it. My big concern, listen, Marner right now is carrying the team. Nylander has been unbelievable. Leafs need to practice their OT. 1-6 so far. That's exactly right. I know Keefe did having them run, or was running them 3-on-3 drills in practice. Clearly it's not working. But my big concern and the area they need to fix right now is Austin Matthews. John Tavares, he's been awesome this year. So awesome, I went out, I got a John Tavares jersey. Like, I don't go and buy jerseys. John Tavares, he dieted, he ate right, he was in the gym, he was not happy with how he played last year. He's been a man on a mission this season. Nylander, enough said, he's killing it. Marner, killing it. Matthews, he's the fourth of the big four. He needs to find his game and get going. He's getting points. He's getting goals. So anybody that says, but Sam, Matthews is still putting the puck in the net. He's still, getting some points. And he is. However, it's not enough.
He's missing the mark on his streak to 60 next season.
You know what? It's not even the streak to 60 that I'm worried about. It's for me, and I'm trying to pull up. Can I pull up the entire set here? Of course, it's going to make it difficult for me. Here we go. Let me see how far down the list he is. First of all, let me give a huge shout out to Tage Thompson of the Buffalo Sabres. This guy had a huge year last year. I'm absolutely loving what he's doing this year. But here's Austin Matthews. Okay, so Matthews, who led the league in goals last year, crushed it. He's got 12 goals this year and only 15 assists. Okay, 12 goals and 15 assists. The league leader has 22 goals so far. So he's kind of falling apart. Does Matthews want to move on from the Leafs like Jack did from the? Dave, it's a very good question. He says he wants to stay here. He wants to play here. The problem with Matthews, he's getting his points, obviously not at the pace we would like. I mean, Dallas predicted him to get 482 goals this year. No, I'm just kidding. And Dallas wanted 70 goals this year. But the thing with Matthews is it's how he's playing away from the puck. He's floating around. He's not being aggressive. And then what's happening late in the games is he's getting frustrated and he's trying to get physical. And I think Matthews is just, I don't know if he's in his own head or he's mad with management or the coach, but he's not playing inspired hockey. Maybe it's the way guys are covering him and he can't get free and his little toe drag wrist shot isn't the same. But he's just not playing inspired hockey. And to me, that's what the Leafs need to figure out right now. That and bench Pierre Engvall. I'm just saying, it's driving me nuts.
I would say trade him, but I think we have enough pucks already.
Yeah, I would. The bottom six, I mean, listen, I love what David Kempf and Zach Aston Reese are doing together. And when you put Mulligan on that line, it's a good line. They're playing well together. I even have enjoyed what Kerfoot is doing this year. Kerfoot, I think, has been okay. Yarncroc has been awesome. When you slide Nick Robertson in, this guy, he's going to explode. You can see the talent is just waiting to come out. Pierre Engvall's driving me nuts. I don't know what it is.
If he could come out one game and pretend he was 6'5",
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There's so much there. There's so much potential. I see why the scouting reports were what they were. I just don't know that the scouts today would have the same thoughts.
It's true. I want to see. What is he officially measured at? I've got it right here.
Where? 6'5", 215, 220?
Did I miss him? Pierre Engvall. Yeah, 6'5", 214 pounds. You're right. Could he come and play as a 6'5" player, please? Like, that would be so beneficial to the team. Dallas, 58 goals to go. There it is, Dallas. He's getting close. He's getting close. Well, listen, I think we've beat that to death. I mean, I think they got to do something with Egghead Engvall. They got to get Matthews going, and they'll be awesome. Listen, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. That's what we wanted to cover today. Thank you for joining us for the inaugural post-game report episode where we got to sit down and talk a little bit of hockey about the Toronto Maple Leafs, where they've been and where they're going. John, what do you have coming up this week? Anything you want to share with the team, your social media, anything like that?
You know what? I don't have anything planned at the moment. I've sort of taken a bit of a hiatus from smoking. It's been too wet, too cold, and I haven't yet transitioned to my winter cooking, which is more indoors. But as soon as I get back to that, I know I've got a couple of things I got to get out for a few people. They want to see some fish dishes and stuff. I'll let you know, and that'll be back up on Instagram.
All right, sounds good. For myself, there's Streamlabs just dropping my link tree in. If you click on the link there, you can get my Instagram and our Facebook group. If you haven't joined our Facebook group or followed our Facebook page, go ahead and join it. We're trying to build those platforms up as well. We will be live Tuesday at 8:30, I think the game is, as we're taking on the Leafs, taking on the Dallas Stars. That stream is scheduled. So following this, you'll be redirected over there. You can hit the like button early. You can set a reminder, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Here in Florida, we're still cooking outside. Dave, we are very, very jealous of that. It's I have some friends down in Florida that the other day when it was like 75, they were wearing sweaters and telling me how cold it was. and it was like 5 degrees here, and I was about ready to put on shorts. So that's the way it goes. 36 point, Theo. That is a spectacular point, a really good point to make. 36 point is still a really good start. So, John, you said it. The Leafs are off to a good start. They're doing a great job. Dallas, who should I cheer for? Dallas, of course. I'll let you choose if that's yourself or the team, but I'm saying go Dallas. But thanks so much for hanging out, for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. For myself, Sam, and John, thank you for joining us. It's been a blast.
Pleasure.
Make sure you hit that like, make sure you subscribe, and all that fun YouTuber stuff. And we'll see you on Tuesday for the Leafs and the Dallas Stars. Take care, everybody. Good night. Go Dallas, go. Good night, everybody.